Hello, everybody. It's been a long time since I did one of these podcasts. So I'm Michael Duran. I've been fishing with UKA since I believe. This is year 4. So I started in 2022, and now we're going into 2026. So a lot to talk about. This is not like one of the UKA podcast thing with the whole group. It's just me. I just wanted to talk about the season because I'm freaking bored, guys. I have not got to fish in so long, and so I just figure I would do this. This instead, I like to talk about fishing just as much as I like to do it. So I figured I'll do one of these. I'm making it a public, so anybody on my YouTube channel can see it. So hopefully that'll make it fun. And I'm making it a public. You guys can. So anybody on my YouTube channel can see. Sorry, let me mute this. But yeah, I just wanted to come here and talk about UKA and talk about the season that's coming up and tell you guys a little bit about it. It's going to be a long one. There'll probably be a little bit of me pausing for a second, taking care of my daughter, coming back to it. But basically, just going to talk about the different lakes, what I think is going to happen, how I think it's going to be won, what I think is going to win, maybe what lakes I'm going to fish on, because some of the tournaments, some of the tournaments will be dual lakes. There'll be 2 different lakes that you can go fish, and I can kind of tell you guys what each lake is like and what I think will play, but you have to obviously don't do exactly what I say, but hopefully I can help you be a little more successful this season. Also, hopefully you guys can see how excited I am. I'm really excited for this season. Last year, there was a whole deal about me fishing with my daughter. Cam is allowing me to do it, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to avoid it as much as I can. Honestly, I did enjoy it. I do have a video of the whole tournament. I fished Saluda, the last tournament of the year. There's only 7 anglers. I got second place, but I fished that tournament with my daughter, and it went really well. I got second place, but it kind of sucked a little bit. I like taking my daughter. We have a lot of fun when the weather's nice and stuff, and we're fishing. But it kind of took some of the fun out because I couldn't let her net any fish, and she really wanted to net them, and I kept telling her, no, you can't. I had to take the net from her and, net the fish. And I feel like that kind of sucked some of the fun out for her. And it kind of made me a little sad too. I felt really bad, especially when I was editing the video, seeing how much she wanted to net them. And I had to say no. Obviously, I'm always going to do the right thing. I don't care if anyone's looking or not. I'm doing the right thing, but it just sucks for her, and me. But she'll probably fish a couple of them, but I'm going to try to see if grandma will watch her. She loves to be on the water, but I get really competitive. And I think last time I got a little too frustrated with her, and I don't like to do that. I want her to have fun. I want to have fun too. So, but anyways, I probably will fish a few tournaments with her. She's got her own little jersey and everything. I wish I could get her like a UKA jersey. I might have someone make one for her. But yeah, that's one thing for the season that'll be kind of cool. But I'm going to get right into a couple things, guys. 2022, 2023, I was the angler of the year. Last year, I kind of was like, I'm going to take a step back. There was a little bit of drama that happened, and I just felt like I played a part in it, and so I was like, I'm going to get everybody's way and just let other people do this, and I'll fish a couple tournaments and kind of, keep to myself a little bit. So that's what I did. And it kind of sucked. I actually wish I would have just fished more of it, but regardless, there's no way I would have beat Jose Romero. He's a hammer, and he had an absolutely amazing season last year. I don't think anyone was going to beat him. So congratulations to him. But this year, I'm going for it. I'm running. I'm gunning for it. So I'm actually going to take it really serious. I'm probably going to fish. Most likely, I'll fish every single one of the tournaments. Just depending. If something come up, then maybe I won't. But for the most part, I'll probably fish every single tournament this year. So let's go to the schedule, guys, so you can see what she looks like. I'm gonna pull it up, and then I'll broadcast it onto the page so you guys can see it. Okay, media. Sorry, it's taking a second. All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna broadcast it up. All right. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so here we go. So the first tournament we have is Saluda Lake, February 8th. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I should be able to find it. Let's see how quick I can find it, because I tell you what, I've spent a lot of times doing my research on this lake. I know it's up here somewhere. Let's see how quick we can find it. I probably should just type in, guys. Stop being Saluda Lake. Oh, no, wrong one. Saluda Lake. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is, just right above. So it's a little lake. I'm not sure how many acres it is. It's pretty small, but this is actually my home pond. I fished quite a bit here. I love this friggin' lake. This is, it actually is a really good fishery. It can be tough, but they're in there, guys. Let me get a historical imagery. So here's the thing about this lake. Put some water in there because it's low. I don't know why it's so low right there, but okay, so there we go. Fill it up. So the thing about this lake, I think the lower end is going to be really good because it's deeper, and I just think the fish are going to want to. It's really cold, so I don't think they're going to want to be in the shallow stuff. The last time I did fish up there was pretty. It's like in late December, and the further up I went, the less life there was. Now to say that that's clear cut and dry is I wouldn't trust that. There could be some good stuff up here. I don't know how. I've never fished this pond ever. I always pass by and I want to fish it, and I never do. So maybe this season I'll go give it a try. I'm not going to have time to pre-fish, so I might run up there real fast, fish around, see if there's anything going on, and then leave. I just think the deepest part here is like 8 feet. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of fish up there. I think it's going to be too cold, and they're going to want to be towards that deeper stuff. They're either going to want to be either in the deeper stuff, or they're going to be in this river. I think the river could play. I think if you run up there with like a spinnerbait or something, you might be able to do some damage, or a jig. That could be something. That could be an option if you got a motor and you want to make a big run. That would be the deal. But I'll probably be down here on the lower end, just fishing for suspended fish. One thing I will say, guys, is let me remove this from the one thing I've noticed about a Saluda is I can definitely tell there's a ton of pressure there because the big fish, man, you'll see them on scope, and as soon as you see them, I'm talking like 80 feet, 90 feet out, you'll see a big blob, and they just shoot straight to the bottom. It's like they can feel it, they can sense it or something, but they just shoot down to the bottom. They're gone. And I've seen there's big ones. I'm telling you guys, 20 plus inches. They're just way down deep on the channel or just wherever, like 20 feet down. They're this 20 feet deep, sorry, and they're like 15 feet down, which is really hard to hit with a lot of lures other than like a jig head minnow or a spoon. But I see them right away. They shoot straight to the bottom, and they're big ones. And so I think that's going to be somebody can figure out how to maybe get enough space from them that you don't spook them away, and hit them with probably a minnow or a spoon, maybe, I don't know, maybe a worm. I'm not sure. We did fish there in late November, and they didn't really want a worm after the morning time. They ate it up pretty early. I know Jose, that's what he caught one of his kickers with, and he beat me. But he caught all 3 of his fish in the morning on a worm, and then they stopped biting it. So that could be something we see here in February. Maybe you get them on a jig and a worm in the morning, and then you're going to have to get them to react later in the day. I think the jerkbait is going to play. The minnow might play. I think a worm, we'll see, and a jig. I'm sure a worm always plays. But anyways, one thing I'll say about Saluda, guys, is let's hope it doesn't blast some rain, because if it rains really hard, the lake gets blown out pretty much immediately. And I have not had a good experience when it gets blown out, but that might not mean anything. It could mean haven't figured it out yet, but it could make the fish push up shallow on those docks and stuff, and then they might be more susceptible to like a spinnerbait, chatterbait, and a jig. But that really just, we'll have to see, guys, what to find out. But there's so many things you can do, and the lake is small enough. If you have a motor in 6 hours, gosh dang, you can cover so much water. So that's the first tournament. I'm pretty excited about that one. Second tournament of the year is, let me add this back on. Sorry. Whoa, gotta make me lose my mind. Second one is March 15th, Robinson and Cunningham. Gosh dang, let me show you these 2 lakes. They're pretty easy to find. So they're in Greer, South Carolina, so not too far off. Saluda is like 20 minutes from where I live. And then Greer, this one is Robinson and Cunningham are 30 minutes from me. So this is Robinson. It's a pretty big lake. It's normally really clear. This is just a bad picture of it, but let's see. Yeah, it's been really clear lately. It's a pretty big lake. This one, it's going to take you, if you want to fish, like if you want to cover a whole lake in 6 hours, you won't be able to do it here. It's too freaking big, guys. There's a lot going on here. Lots of good points, right? There's some ditches. And this lake is loaded with brush piles. I don't think there's a lake this size anywhere in the Carolinas that has this many brush. There's somebody who works there or whatever, but they absolutely load this lake up with brush piles. They're stinking everywhere, man. From 10 feet deep to 30. Like they are everywhere. And this lake is pretty deep. The deepest part's about 40 feet deep. There's a really good river channel with some ledges on it. I haven't figured out how to fish them yet, but I really want to try to this year if I can. March, I don't think ledges are really going to play. I think they're going to be starting to move it up pretty shallow. But guys, this tournament is going to be crazy. Let me show you Cunningham too. Cunningham's down here, a lot smaller of a lake. This is an easy lake to cover in 6 hours. I could fish this whole thing from here to here and up the river too if I wanted to in 6 hours. And guys, it's a competitive lake too. I think it could be one out of both lakes. I think the bigger chance is that it's probably going to get one out of Robinson, but I might go Cunningham. If it's a tough day, I would rather be on Cunningham. It's smaller and I can try. When there's a lot of water, I just feel like when there's a lot of water, I just kind of feel like I need a smaller lake. Like in my opinion, if I'm in that situation, I'm like, oh, it's a tough day, I'd rather be on the smaller lake because that way I just feel like I'm not going to be like, oh, maybe I'm just in the wrong spot. I can just try and figure out a different way to catch them. And I know Cunningham like the freaking back of my hand, guys. I've put so many hours on Lake Cunningham from every time of the year. I've been on that lake so much. So I just feel more confident there. The bigger ones are in Robinson, guys. There's a good chance we see, I'm not kidding you, there's a chance we see a 25-inch bass out of Robinson. There's even a chance of a 26-inch bass on Robinson. Last year I caught a 25 3/4 in June on a brush pile. March, obviously, we'll fish different, but there's a good chance we could see a fish that caliber size. People catch those big ones on like an A-rig, but I mean, you can catch them with just about anything, a jerkbait A-rig. There's going to be some shaking minnows going on there, and people will catch some big bass doing that. So that's possible. But both lakes are great fisheries. I caught in that day that I caught that 25 3/4, I caught 102 inches that day. So that lake can put out 100 inches pretty easy. I've seen plenty of 30-pound bags come out of there. There's freaking giants in that lake, dude. Like you could go in there and catch some freaks. They're definitely in there. Now, Cunningham, on the other hand, there are some really big ones. I saw a 23-incher get caught out of there in 2023. That was in August, but that means that fish isn't still in there. You know, he let it go. There are freaks in there too. I've seen someone catch a 100-inch limit out of there, and I caught 99-inch limit there here this winter. All on a jerkbait. Well, I caught one on an A-rig too, but most of them were on a jerkbait. I caught 320 3/4 out of there. So there's a lot of 19 to 20-inch fish in there. I think the really big ones, they're a little more spread out, but Robinson's got them. You want to catch some 21 plusers all the way up to like 25, 26 inches. That's probably the place to go. Now, getting 3 of those in the boat is going to be a little more challenging. But I definitely think there's a good chance we see 60 inches because it's a 3-fish limit, guys. But I think there's a really good chance we see 60 inches on that freaking lake. It really just depends. We get a nasty cold front. Both those lakes get really tough. The fish on those lakes, for some reason, they're very sensitive to stuff like that. The experience I've had has been bad. Like every time you get smacked with a cold front, we got a cold front in May, and it shut them off. We were fishing on Cunningham in May, and the cold front blew in, and it shut them off, guys. So that's something that's possible. But if it blow cold front or it's crazy bad weather, I'll probably go to Cunningham. But I think it's more likely somebody will win on Robinson. But I'm just gonna have to make that decision as we get closer. But I'm really excited that one because I think we'll see something close to 60 at least, maybe a UKA record, if anything. But next on the chopping block, let's add this back to the stage, is Bowen Blaylock. Now, if there's anyone, I feel bad saying this, but if there's any tournament that I'll miss, it'll probably be this one, guys. One thing I forgot to say about Cunningham and Robinson is you have to get a tag, a sticker. If you have a motor, it's a little more expensive. I think I don't know how much it is. I think it's $75, which to me is not bad because these are some of the best fisheries in the state. I truly believe that you can catch some absolute freaks in both lakes. So it's worth the 75 or whatever. But honestly, they don't care if you have a sticker. I haven't had a sticker for a while because they don't care, but this is the thing. You can go to the office, but if they're not there, that has a sign on the window that says, if we're not here, then just go fish. And so that's basically what I've been doing. I have tried multiple times to get a sticker and they don't have one. I bought one for all of last year, But this year, every time I go, they just are not there. So I haven't had the chance to get the sticker. But they really don't care, guys. I promise. If you show up and they don't have one or they're not there, that's really on them because they're very weird. Like you'd be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go get a sticker, and then they're just not there. So, anyways, but Blaylock Bowen, that one is in more like towards Spartanburg, Boiling Springs area. They're very big lakes. These ones you definitely cannot fish. You definitely can't fish in one day. They're huge. They're very long, skinny, narrow lakes. There's big fish in them, guys. I mean, there is definitely big fish in both lakes, but there's not as many. I think it's one of those situations where, like, if you guys know this about fishing, but a lot of lakes that have like a lot of small bass, they'll always have a couple freaks in there because they end up like one will just be like an outlier and then they eat the other bass. So there are freaking giants in there. Tim Prosser caught an 8-pounder out of I think it was Bowen this year in the wintertime. I think he was throwing a minnow. I'm not sure what he was throwing, but I'm guessing a minnow, but I could be totally wrong. But yeah, that lake, they got him. I mean, I won there. This is one of the reasons I fish with UK. This is why I love UK and why I fish with them so much is my first ever tournament with UKA was on Lake Blaylock. So I love that lake. I think I only caught I think it was like a 17, 2 17s and a 16. And I won with that. The biggest fish that day was an 18, and that was in March. So like they're not going to be giants. I think Bowen wins it if I had to guess, but I might not fish that one just because the sticker is a little pricey if you have a motor, and I don't know if I want to go pedals on that one. I think I prefer to go motor. The stickers, if you have a motor, are crazy expensive. They're like in the hundred. I think it's like $300, something like that. And I just am not going to pay that. Not to fish those lakes. They're not that good in my opinion. But guys, still worth a try. If you want to go pedals, it's $25. This one I would be careful. I have had experience where they check your stickers. Of all the other sticker lakes we fished, that's the only one where they check you, and they're the most expensive. So I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I'm just being straight honest with you. That's how I view it. I don't really like those lakes too much there, but I mean, I've had a good time fishing there. And if you do get a sticker for just a pedal drive, it lasts a lifetime. You don't have to continuously buy them every year. So $25. I don't know about the motor sticker. I don't even want to go check on that because $300 is just it's a little much for me, guys. But if you have like if your kayak can go 3-4 miles an hour, you don't need a motor. I have both my kayaks can go about 3 miles an hour with the pedal drive. My wilderness system can go a little faster, but I might fish it. I haven't decided yet, guys. I'm not completely out of it, but if there's anyone that I was going to miss, it might be that one. All right. Next one on the chopping block. Oh, goodness. I keep pushing the wrong one. Is going to be Raven and Boyd Millipond. Okay. I don't even know. I know where, let's see, Raven. I'm just going to type it in because I don't even want to mess with this. Lake Raven, I believe, is in Lawrence. Let me see. I don't know but here is Lake Raven. It's actually that's a decent sized lake. You can really spread out on this one. We're fishing that in May. And then the other one is Boyd Millipond. I'm not going to pull that one out because I'm not even going to fish that one, guys. I will fish Lake Raven. There's some good points out here. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but I'm going to pull off and go back to just my face. All right, let's remove that. Okay. You have the two options. I've heard crazy things about both lakes. I've never fished Boyd Millipond, but I have heard that the launch is a little sketchy and like sometimes it's very challenging because there's like a big sandbar right there. I don't have any experience on there. You'd have to ask other people, but I have heard there's some absolute freaks in that lake. I just haven't had myself. I have not had a chance to fish it, so I would not be able to tell you anything about Boyd Millipond, but I have heard giants, and I've heard also very difficult to launch. So I'm not even going to try to go there. I'm going to probably go to Raven. Now, Raven, you have to get a permit for it, but it's $10, guys. I mean, that's super cheap. It's $10 for a whole year, even if you have a motor. I have fished on Raven one time. I didn't have a good experience, but I have heard a lot of crazy things about that lake. You go on YouTube, there's a guy who caught like a 10-pounder out of there on a rattle trap, just throwing it around. Didn't seem like a very good angler, but he was just chucking and winding a rattle trap and he caught a 10-pounder. So Those are in there. And I just saw a guy on TikTok actually today. He was showing a big fish he caught out of Ravens. And he said, and I asked him, like, what the heck? Like, I went there, I had a really hard time, but he said it's tough. But if you figure it out, they're really big fish in that lake. And I would say that's comparative to Robinson, because Robinson can be difficult. But if you figure out how to catch them, they're freaking big. So he said he caught 2 4-pounders and a 6-pounder on the same day. You do that in a UKA tournament, you're probably going to win. I will say I'm definitely 1,000% going to fish this one. I will 1,000% fish on Lake Raven. I went there and I did a lot of side scanning. There's some good brush piles in there, and dude, there's some good rock. This is the only lake I've ever experienced that has really good rock. Like, so for instance, like you go to Lake Secession, whole lake is rock. There's rock freaking everywhere. So it's hard to kind of decipher what's good, what's not. Now, Raven, you'll go and side scan a point, and it's just loaded with boulders. Like, it's like somebody built this lake for fishing rock. And so there's a lot of really good points. There also looks like some really, I don't know if they're whatever that is, that bamboo or whatever they put in Hartwell, the stuff that's real tall. But there's some brush piles that are like straight up and down, like real tall. There'll probably be some fish in there. I'm guessing you could throw a top water over the top of it, a lot like Hartwell, but we'll see, guys. May is a perfect time to go fish those points with the rock and the brush piles and all that kind of stuff. I think it'll be really good. There also could be an early bluegill spawn, or like it might hit it right in the right time, guys. The bluegill spawn is one of the best times to catch really giant fish, but it's not consistent. One day you go there and you catch 25 freaking pounds, 30 pounds of bass. No, I'm not saying on that lake, but any lake. Like, you could go to a lake that's got a good bluegill spawn. One day you go there, you catch 30 pounds of bass. The next day, they're freaking gone. They just disappear off the face of the earth. So that could be something to expect when you fish there. But that's okay. We got a bluegill spawn. There's docks. There's going to be a top water bite. Maybe there's going to be a good crankbait bite because all the rock. And, maybe we'll catch them on a jig, a Carolina rig. There's a lot of things you can catch them on, guys. I think Raven could be a lot of fun. That's where I'm going to launch. But Boyd Millipond might win the dang thing, because I've heard so many things about that. Like, so many people are like, man, Boyd Millipond. I've never been there, so I'm going to stop talking about it. But I'm going to go Raven. If you guys are fishing that tournament, you'll be fishing against me, and you'll see me at Raven if you go there. All right, next one on the schedule, Lake Wylie, June 13th. Gosh darn, I love Lake Wylie, guys. I tell you what, every single year, this is like one of my favorite places to go. I love it. I used to always fish the Catawba Clash here, but last year it kind of did me dirty. It's a massive lake, guys. This one will be all of the tournaments. It will be all public ramps. One second. If you're not sure, where to look for public ramps, I know I have my Queen City, but I also have my UKA jersey, guys. I love both clubs. They're awesome. I will fish both of them this year. But this is a good place to look. If you go on their page, you can go in their files tab and you can click ramps. And these guys, they have a really good set of ramps you can look at. I'm not going to tell you what ramp I launch at, but I love Lake Wylie. Some people in UK, they probably know where I launch. But June 13th, 1,000% going to be a good bluegill spawn. But like I just said, super inconsistent, guys. So you might go on Friday. I'm literally going to tell you what happened to me a couple years ago. Friday, I freaking just go looking for bluegill beds. I see I'm not kidding you. Lake Wylie. It's going to sound stupid. I see 100 inches of bass. Like, I'm like, if I fish today and I freaking catch these bass, I could catch 100 inches. Like, at one point, I'm like, let me just mess around. I just threw a jig near a black and blue jig in crystal clear water. I threw it in a bluegill bed and I caught an 18-inch spot. Like, it was like that all day. I didn't catch any. That was the only fish I caught because I didn't want to mess with them. So, but I just kind of wanted to catch one. But anyways, I was going around. I marked 60 to 70 bluegill beds. Like, I mean, for 8 hours straight, I just drove around the bank. I'm like, 8 hours, guys. I didn't fish. I drove around and looked for bluegill beds, and I just marked them. I was 50 to 60 of them, and I'm not kidding you. If I would have fished that day, I would have caught 100 inches on Lake Wylie. And then I'm like, dude, I'm going to win this tournament so easy tomorrow. And this was Queen City. The next day, dude, no, it was actually SC Bass last year, and I think it was not year before. I don't know, remember fully. But anyways, I'm like, dude, if I had to fish today, 100 inches. Tomorrow, I'm going to kill everybody's what I'm thinking in my head. Next day comes, I go to my first bluegill bed. I don't catch nothing. And all of a sudden, I start noticing, like, I'm checking these bluegill beds that yesterday, they had fish on them. Every bluegill bed I saw the day before had fish on it. Not all of them were big, but there was a lot that had big fish on them. And now I'm not catching anything. There's no fish on these beds. The sun gets up. I start looking. It's dead. It's like the bluegill are still there. The bluegill are still spawning. They're still easy prey for a big bass. But for some reason, the fish just they just put on the, you know, remember I don't know if you guys are watching those cartoons where they put the little thing over their shoulder and they pack up and run. That's what those fish did. They all disappeared. Now, there was a couple of them that stayed. I caught a 23-incher that day, which is insane. And then I caught a 17-incher on the beds. The rest of them, I had to kind of wing it and do some other things to catch them. But it ended up working out. I think I got like third. But, man, if those fish that were there the day before would have been there that day, I probably would have done really well. But I think a bluegill spawn's going to be a good move. Definitely some offshore stuff. Wiley's got some good rock on it too, guys. If you go around with your side scan, there's some good rock piles in there, and they do have fish, even in the heat of the summer. Great brush piles. It's a good lake, guys. I think a lot of places in the lake you could do really well. I fished on the lower end and the upper end, and all of it's pretty good. I think the fish are pretty spread out. I think it's more just how you approach it. But I think brush piles could play really well, and also, like I said, bluegill beds. If someone gets on a really good bluegill bed, it's over. It's toast. Goodbye. Someone's gonna catch close to 60 inches, you know. But yeah, that one will be with the Foothills guys. Foothills guys are super awesome. I'm not sure what I think the weigh-in will be with them. I'm not 100% sure, but it will be on Tourney X, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I will fish that one 1,000%, but I can't tell you where I'm going because the big lakes I'm a little more secretive, but the little lakes not as much. But yeah, anyways, Wiley, I'm excited for that one. I can't wait. But when we do the Catawba Clash with Twin City, I will fish Norman instead because I think that one's a little more consistent with the size, but we'll see, guys. Anyways, I will definitely fish that lake. Next one on the schedule, let's pop it up. What do we got? I mean, I should remember this by heart already. Okay, July 19th, Yona, Tougaloo. That's going to be a mix-up. Okay, so Yona and Tougaloo are on the South Carolina border. Let's see. They're up here somewhere. Let me see. Okay, so here's Tougaloo, I believe. Yeah, Tougaloo, and then I think, is it above it or? Oh, and then Yona's below it. Boom. There it is. Yona, Tougaloo. Super. Okay, we're going to go back. Let me come back to, you can see my base. Remove this. Hey, whoever's watching, guys, thank you for watching. I don't know if, let me check the chat, see if you guys said anything. No one said anything. Okay. If you guys, I'll try to keep up with that stuff. But Yona, Tougaloo, super crystal clear lakes. Both of them, they have absolute freaks in them, but they're tough. They're tough. Like, okay, so you're going to catch fish. Like, I think like both of those days, people are going to catch fish. Now, Yona, I don't know what happened to that lake this year. Maybe I caught all the fish that friggin' pre-fishing or something, but now I went out there and I caught like 57 inches. Like, I just went fishing once. I caught 221.5, and then I got like I think a 15 that day. So like, let's see, that's, yeah, like 57 inches on practice, not on tournament day. And I'm like, man, I'm about to do some crazy work out here, you know? And I thought everybody was going to catch the heck out of them, honestly. But then tournament day comes, and for some reason it got really, really tough. I couldn't tell you why, guys. I don't really know why. It's confusing. So there's the expectation that can happen, but we've also have days where it's freaking awesome. Everybody's catching them. Tougaloo, the year that we did go to Tougaloo, man, I tell you what, people caught the freaking crap out of them. A lot of people catching fish. It was just harder to catch the big ones. Someone pre-fishing for Tougaloo a couple of years ago, Gary, he caught 222 inchers in a row on Tougaloo. So that's the kind of quality size fish that are in there. I was on when I fished the tournament on Tougaloo, I won it a couple years ago, but I lost an absolute freak. I mean, a giant. I had a 7-inch bait. Let me see. I'm going to grab it so I can show you guys this crap. I actually have it right here. I think. Yes, there it is. I'm going to show you this bait. Okay, I knew I had it right there. So there's this freaking bait, guys. It is 8 inches. This thing is 8 inches long, bro. And I'm working this thing, and I stop and sit down Because, like all the cast is over, I sit down, and this bass comes up underneath. Like, that's bigger than my hand. Eats the whole thing like that. Like it was a minnow, dude. Giant. I'm not even kidding. I'm just going to say it. Probably 8 to 10 pounder. I mean, freak. I set the hook. He shakes once, throws it, and I'm like, this is crazy. So both lakes, guys, have big bit fish in them. Like I said, I caught 221.5s on the same day there. One was on a shaky head. Other was on a glide bait. I don't know if I should tell you guys about the secret of Yona. I don't know. I probably will not. You know what? If you're watching it, then, I'll give you this. So Tougaloo, they turn on the dam on Sundays at 11. They turn the dam on, and when that water starts moving, they start biting. And I went up there with a glide bait when they opened the dam up, and I caught one of them was a 21.5. The other one, he was just cruising the bank, and I also lost another like 20-incher that day. I forgot to mention that. I just saw him cruising. I was like up close to the bank because it has like a shelf. It'll be shallow, and then it just dumps. He was in the shallow, just cruising, looking for bluegill. I just threw the shaky head. He ate it. When I was trying to pull him out, he got in some brush, and he snapped me off. But, guys, they're in there. I could have caught 60 inches that day. So, Yona or Tougaloo could 1,000% you can win. If you're like Gary, though, and you pull up and catch 222 inches in a row, you're probably going to win on Tougaloo. But I think both lakes could play, guys. I really do. I will probably be on Yona. I like smaller lakes. Just easier for me to break down the day. Both will have a bluegill spawn. And if we get a really good bluegill spawn in July, now I know July is late, but the thing about it is those lakes are higher up in the mountain. The water stays a little cooler. So their bluegill spawn is going to be a little later in the season. But if we get a really good one, then all those really big fish will push up shallow. Now, with lakes like that, where it's like hundreds of feet deep, it is really hard to catch those big largemouth unless something like the bluegill spawn happens and they all move up. I'm not sure what those, I have a lot to learn in this fishing game, but I have not figured out how to catch those big largemouth in lakes like that unless there's a bluegill spawn or there's a bunch of docks. Then that's a little bit easier. But in this case, we're hoping that happens because then people can just go along the bank, throw a worm. Because, a lot of like anglers are just learning that's a pretty popular thing to do. You just throw you throw your wacky rig under, skip it under some overhangs and hope something good happens. And if there's a really good bluegill spawn, that's going to be a super effective way to catch them. Just a shaky head or a wacky worm. And they might bite a jig too. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't had the experience of that. Usually they just like to bite a worm. They like a little finessier because the water's clear. But a jig might be a good thing to try this coming season. Obviously, that's not till July. And I just gave you guys some juice about the dam, so hopefully that doesn't mess me up. But you'll probably see me up there at 11 waiting for that water to turn on. And when it turns on, hopefully we can get a real big one on this guy, a 21.5. But there's other ways to catch him. I know a guy who went there and caught a bunch of big ones this last summer, and he smoked me in a summer-long event. But, yep. All right, let's go on to the next. Oh, okay. Hey, man, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, dude. Daryl's he's an awesome guy. If you guys don't know Daryl McCain, I'm Big Boy Fishing. Go check out his channel. Great person. One of my fishing buddies I've gotten real close to over this past year. Treating me good fella, good fisherman. He's learning from me. I'm trying to turn him into a straight up hammer. I hope he gets there one day because he is one heck of a video maker. I mean, if you guys have not seen this guy's edits, he's freaking unbelievable. If you just go on his TikTok and his YouTube channel and just see like this guy, he's so talented. We just gotta, once he gets on them fish, guys, he's gonna be unstoppable on YouTube, on social media in general. But anyways, I'm moving on to the next one. Let's see what we got next. Cooley Lyman, August 16th. All right, guys. Now, oops, sorry. I'm going to pull this. I messed up. Okay, now you can see it. Cooley Lyman, August 16th. Oh, where are we at? Golly, I'm getting lost over here, guys. Those ones are in Spartanburg. Should be able to see them from the highway. There's Robinson. There's Cooley right there. Bang, bow. It's a pretty big lake, very deep. And then where's Lyman? There's Lyman right there. Lyman is not as deep. It's about the same size, though. Let me remove this real quick. Okay, so Cooley, super deep. Plenty of space, guys. We could fit 20 on each lake. There could be 50 people in this tournament, and I think it would be just fine. I will probably, it's so hard. I honestly couldn't tell you where I'm going to go. I don't even know. It's going to be a really hard. I'm probably will have some time to pre-fish for this one. But what I will say is Cooley has a lot. I have not spent as much time on Lyman, so I could be missing a couple things, but Cooley loaded with bait. There is bait freaking everywhere. I mean, it is loaded with bait. And in August into September, probably in October too, they start schooling. I mean, it could be bright, sunny day. They just start smashing them. They school up so good on Cooley. You could catch, I mean, you could find a school of 30 bass. Like, it's a really good lake for schooling fish. We did fish. I forgot. I think we fished there in June or July last year. And of course, Jose kicked everybody's butt. And he found a school bass. He was throwing a spoon. He freaking whacked them doing that. So the morning time could be really good, especially in August, guys. I don't know if you know, like August, September, sometimes the morning time is so good and the rest of the day is so hard to get them to bite. I will probably go, I don't know. I might go Cooley, might not. I'm not sure. Lyman is a shallower lake. It's about the same size. I don't know how much bait's in there. I have not spent a lot of time in there. I've never seen school, but there's grass. And you can get on a frog bite there. You can get on a good frog bite and a good chatterbait bite because of the grass. You know, you're just reeling it through. You snap it through the grass. And there's some friggin' giants in Lyman too. There could possibly be a bluegill spawn going on. I know it's late in the year, but a lot of times those bluegill will spawn one more time in August. And again, if you can get on it, yeah, you guys notice there's a whole thing with me with bluegill spawn, but it's so good if you get on the right day. Yeah, docks on both lakes, Cooley and Lyman. There's a lot of docks, and with it getting hot, skipping them under there. I believe this past year, the guy who caught big bass, actually 2 years in a row, big bass on Cooley was caught on a wacky worm. I think both times on a dock. Somebody skipped a wacky worm in the morning, caught a giant, wins big bass. I think 2 years ago this past season it was, Toby. He won, and the year before that, I think it was Gary. Both big bass, both on a wacky worm. Guys, a wacky worm always catches them. And there's so many docks. And that's, again, something a lot of people will do. They'll skip a wacky worm all day under docks, and that's a way to catch them. But, again, there will be some schoolers. There'll be some fish out in the middle of nowhere. Probably could catch them shaking a minnow or throwing a shaky head out and let it fall by. But both lakes could be interesting. It could be interesting, guys. I think if somebody can figure out that grass bite on Lyman, that could be really good. If somebody can figure out those schoolers on Cooley or get on a good school in the morning before the sun gets out and it heats up. But I'm not sure. I haven't decided which lake I'm going to go to, guys. It could be interesting. We're getting towards the end of the season. Oh, my goodness. I'm getting nervous. What do we got next? Broadway Secession. Oh, sorry. I'm making these weird noises, but this one is another one where I don't know where I'm going to go. The last one is like, I like both lakes, not a big deal. Probably go to Cooley, but this one is really where I'm scratching my head because both lakes are really good. Broadway, very small lake, really super small. You could cover that lake twice in 6 hours if you have a motor, but it has hydrilla in it. And if you find the hydrilla, there were some giant bass in there last year or 2 years ago. Sorry, my time is all over the place. I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We fished on Broadway, and somebody caught a 23-incher out of there. And also, people were catching a lot of big ones in there. And I went to this winter and I caught 2 19s, not on separate days, but there's 19ers in there and there's 23 inchers in there. Actually, Daryl, he freaking hooked an absolute freak on a dock on a shaky head, and then it came off, and then I think the next day or so, Zach came out and got that same fish. It was I don't know how long it was, but it looked 22, 23 inches. So they're in there, guys, really big ones. And if you get on that grass, get on the grass, bite, and you beat everybody else to the grass, because if somebody else gets there first, it's that time that we did go there, it was a small area. This kid, I don't know his name or anything, but he freaking caught 3 good ones, and he was like, all right, I'm done. He stopped the day early. He's like, I'm good. I'm gonna call it. I don't need to keep fishing. I already caught my winning limit. And then this guy, Rob Sinker, who's an absolute hammer, he goes there, tosses a jig. Like, I think it's like the last 10 minutes of the day. He just says, screw it. Throws a jig under a dock, catches a 23-incher, wins the tournament. So guys, never give up. But Broadway has got them. You could definitely win out of Broadway. It's going to be a little more jam-packed if a lot of people decide to go there, but you could win there. Don't think they're not in there. They are in there. And September, yeah, ton of crappie, guys. Yeah, it's so easy to go out there and shake a minnow and catch crappie. I mean, Daryl's not wrong. Guys, if you go out there, there is crappie stinking everywhere, just floating around all over the place. And they're super easy to catch, and it's easy to get distracted by those crappie. Don't do that. But that place you can win. Secession, you can absolutely win there too. I've had some unbelievable days there. I tried to I wanted to have the TOC on on Secession, but I kind of agree with Cam. Salute is a better. It's smaller lake, and it's just just easier. But anyways, Secession's really good as well. Two completely different lakes. Secession, super deep, lots of rock, lots of standing timber, and tons of docks. There's a lot of docks on Broadway as well, but I think the docks play a little bit better on Secession, but I could be totally wrong. I have not had as much experience fishing the docks on Broadway as I have on Secession. Lake Secession, if we hit it like if we hit the right weather, you could get on a good crankbait bite there because there's so much rock. I think there's so many things that can play. Top water is going to play in the morning on that lake. You will see me going down the bank with a freaking buzz bait, no matter what. That's how I'm starting the day at Secession. And then I'll probably start skipping a jig or something. There's also a lot of brush piles in Secession, but the experience I've had there has not been good. A lot of the brush piles, they just don't seem to play. I just have not been able to get those fish to bite. I did find one brush pile that I think is a little sneaky, and I did catch some fish off of that one. But there's a ton of them, and if you can figure out how to get those fish to bite, you can probably catch some really big ones. Because the ones I did see on scope, it looked like there's some nice fish on there. I will probably go Secession. I don't know, but there's a good chance I'll probably go there. I just think I can do more things there, and I don't know if it plays in my favor. I feel like I'd probably be better at Broadway, but I just like Secession. There is a lot of big fish in there. I went there in the winter one time, and I caught 90 inches for 5. I did lose like a 22 on a crank, all in a crankbait. I caught all of them cranking. I was just up shallow in the middle of winter, just cranking and smacking them. Another day I went out there, I caught a couple good ones. I was shaking a minnow. I was just going on points and fishing the standing timber that was on the points, and there was bass on it. There's one particular spot. It's weird. It's like one point with standing timber that there's always fish on there. So that's something you learn. It's kind of crazy. Like for some odd reason, like they're just these two big sticks that stick out of the water on a point, and for some reason, every time I go there, there's some freaking fish there. But yeah, September should be fun, guys. It will be competitive, and either lake could absolutely win. There's literally no way I could tell you, oh, this lake or that lake. They're both phenomenal fisheries, and I'll probably be on Secession, skipping a jig, throwing a buzzbait in the morning, that kind of deal. And we're gonna be with Lake Murray Kayak Fishing, I think is what the club is called. Guys, Murray's my favorite lake. No, I don't know. I can't even tell you what my favorite lake is. I love a lot of these fisheries here in the Carolinas, but Murray's definitely one of my top 5. Let's say that. It's one of my top 5. I found a lot of success on Murray. And it is one of those lakes where, guys, anybody could win it in any area of the lake. There is so many things you can do. There's places you can fish shallow all year long. There's places you can fish deep all year long. You just have to understand what you're looking for and where you should be. But I think Murray is just one of those lakes. I think Hartwell is kind of the same, where like you can always find a bite that you want. Like they're all over the whole lake is wide open. You can win on the lower end, the clear water. You can win on the upper section in the dirty water. You just have to figure out how to get them to bite and just hope that it's a timing thing, guys. You know how fishing is. Sometimes the timing's right. Sometimes the timing's wrong. Certain areas they're biting, certain areas they're not, and it could change day to day. And so Murray is going to be a fun one, guys. The way that they fish though is a little bit different. I don't know if they're going to do an open ramp because we might take over with Tourney at UKA. Cam might take over with and do open ramp. If he does that, it could be really interesting. But usually what these guys do is they'll meet up at a ramp, one ramp specifically, and then you have to figure out how to catch fish at that ramp. And I think that's really cool. It's fun. It's like the old shotgun star, old school. Love that stuff. regardless, I'll be fishing that one, guys. I love me some Murray. And if I get to go fish a ramp that I've never fished before and it forces me out of my comfort zone, I'm totally all in for it. But in October, you never know. You might get it. There might be a really good topwater bite. There's going to be a lot of bait. If we get open ramp, I'm really excited for that one because I know some good spots in from September into November. I have some really good stuff there. So hopefully it's an open ramp. There's a lot of hammers that are fishing that one. My teammate this year that's going to fish with me, Queen City, Joseph Scarlett, he knows about my stuff. So we're going to be going head to head on that one. But that's Murray, guys. And then we only got one left. Geez, we've been here for 45 minutes. Thank you for anybody who continued. It looks like Daryl. Hopefully Daryl's still on here. But anybody who's watched and who's still on there, thank you for watching. Last one is the TOC, November 29th, Saluda Lake. Guys, I'm going to tell you this. It's probably going to be tough. But I think if you're fishing the TOC, you're trying. It's a competition, guys. We're not trying the point of it being challenging, I think makes it that much better because you're taking your 10, whatever. I don't know exactly what Cam's doing, but I think it's top 10 in AY. I could be totally wrong. There's probably a way for a lot of people to qualify, but let's say there's only the 10 best anglers in your club are fishing against each other on a tough lake. I think that just makes it more interesting. But at the same time, it might not even be tough, guys. It could be freaking killer. Like the time we went there, it was a little tough. We went there in late November this last year, and it was a little tough. But I've heard it's been great in late November. So you never really know. But the TOC, I think I like that it's going to be challenging. And there'll probably be a lot of money. I think it's going to be a winner take all, but we'll see what Cam decides to do. He's really on top of things this year, and I'm really excited for what he has in store for everybody. But thank you for anybody who tuned in and watched all of the podcast. I just wanted to talk about it because, guys, I have not fished in 9 days, and I've got the freaking scratch. I want to go, but at least I get to talk about it. And I get to put this on my YouTube channel, get some watch time. I'm working towards trying to get monetized. I'm starting with the shorts and maybe doing stuff like this as much as I can. But I'm trying to be careful about my big lake spots. If any of you guys know, I've had a channel for a long time, but I'm trying to ease myself into letting all my secrets out there because I do benefit financially from tournament fishing. And so I don't really want to mess that up because I think I'll have a chance of doing the same thing in this YouTube thing. So I'm going to kind of ease my way in. But if I can pull it off, start making a little bit of money from YouTube, then I think I'll feel a little more comfortable saying, oh, here's what I'm doing on these giant lakes and, let people. Guys, social media can mess stuff up. If somebody finds out you found a little spot, a little hole in the wall that nobody knows about, people are going to find out from your videos. So that's why I'm being a little cautious. But the passion's still there, guys. I record every single video. So even if you haven't seen, ever since I stopped posting YouTube videos, all those tournaments I've done really well in, they're recorded. They're on YouTube. They're just unlisted, so nobody can see them. But one day I will probably release them. But it's going to take some monetization and a little bit of money coming in first before I decide to start releasing stuff. I may honestly release a lot of the stuff that I do with UKA. I'll probably actually release all the videos for that. But anytime we're on a big lake, it's a little bit different. Like Wiley and Murray, I might be a little more secretive about that stuff because I found some little hole in the wall stuff, some sneaky deals, and I've caught a lot of big fish on both of those lakes. So got to be a little sneaky about that. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll probably do a stream for Queen City as well. But have a good night. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.